When I arrived at TCM in September of 2003, that was 16 years ago, Robert Osborne was already at that point a legit legend. He signed the channel on the air in April of 1994, 25 years ago. He wasn't just synonymous with TCM, he was synonymous with classic movies. As I've often said, Robert was the Walter Cronkite of TCM. He was the Babe Ruth of TCM. He was the George Washington of TCM. So then I come in, and I was like the Ron Burgundy of TCM, the Bob Uecker of TCM, I can't think of a really terrible president right now. I'm sure maybe one will come to me. So, not surprisingly, I think it's fair to say that when I arrived, Robert was like maybe a little bit nonplussed. You know, here was this younger kid with a goatee and who'd seen All About Eve considerably less than he had, and my uncle wrote and directed it. So, you know, again, I think he didn't love it fully when I arrived. But now, in the last, like, 2 years, TCM has hired 3 new hosts. And so, like, now I totally get it. Like, enough. I got it. So right away, I learned what Robert meant to TCM. You know, we didn't actually see each other that often because at that point, we couldn't shoot at the same time. So if I was in Atlanta, Robert couldn't be in Atlanta and vice versa. But we worked in the same space. Our sets were built in the same studio. We had the same wardrobe stylist. We had the same makeup artist. We lived in the same space. We had the same producers. 2 of them are here tonight, Ann Wilson and Gary Friedman, with Robert really almost from the start, maybe from the start. And I love all these people, love them. And they loved Robert. And they revered Robert. So, like, through them, I was like, this guy is magical. I mean, the way these people talk about him, that was really my first sense of what he was. So what Randy said, that if you judge someone by their friends, you get a really good indication of who they are. I knew all of Robert's friends in Atlanta. They couldn't have helped me more. They are so important to me, and they adored him. So then my challenge, not is trying to fill these shoes, was not to imitate Robert, to sort of develop my own style. And I sort of came to realize that much of that was impossible because every TCM host follows a template that Robert Osborne created. We talk about the 4 C's at TCM: curation, context, connection, and community. You know, Robert, he curated the movies, giving us context so we could appreciate them in the right way, as the panel pointed out, and then forming a meaningful connection with this growing, passionate TCM community. That's all Robert. Robert didn't hire me. He didn't hire Eddie Muller. He didn't hire Alicia Malone. He didn't hire Dave Karger. He didn't hire Jacqueline Stewart. But all of us are his protégés. None of us will ever have his knowledge, his talent, and as we heard tonight, that commanding stage presence that you felt whether you saw him live or you watched him for 2.5 minutes before a movie and a minute after the movie. I'm so grateful that Robert and I got to know each other and connect in the last 3 or 4 years of his life. And while he left us too soon, he left TCM stronger than it's ever been. He left it never having had a more profound connection with that audience, and never playing a more critical role in keeping these great movies in the public consciousness. So at the beginning of this little brief talk, which is now fortunately near its end, I called Robert a legit legend. As some of the people who work at TCM know, that's a word that I have pretty much banned from scripts, because we overuse it, and then if you call everybody a legend, then there are no legends. But you know, we all know there are some, Betty Davis, Bogart, John Wayne, Sidney Poitier, Joan Crawford, Judy Garland, Cary Grant, many more. Those are legit legends. I think it is fair to say that Robert Osborne is also a legend.